Hello viewers, this is Jared from J-Rod Production Studios, and today I'm bringing you guys a new style video to the channel. I haven't really done any reviews or anything like that, but I think a good way to kind of showcase the love that I have for vehicles, particularly in the Clone Wars era, would be through comparisons of older model and newer modeled sets. One of my favorite vehicles, of course, being the TX-130, or the Republic Fighter Tank. Today I'd go ahead and like to show you guys these two sets. So for this comparison, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the statistics of the sets, the minifigures, and then of course the dimensions as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. So starting off with some of the stats, the set on the left right here is set number 7679. That's the 2008 version, of course. That one retailed for, I believe, between $50 and $60, and that contained 592 pieces, which brings that right about to 10 cents a piece, right about there. It could be a little more, a little less, depending on where you got that retail price from. But that's not bad at all. But considering that it's 10 years ago, it's not as good as especially the one on the right there. So we're going to give that a 7 out of 10 as far as the price per piece ratio goes. And the one on the right, of course, the 2017 model, that one contains 305 pieces, and that retails for $25, and that comes out to 8.2 cents per piece. And even nowadays, you can actually find that for about $20 on most stores now, because that's going out of sale. So we're going to go ahead and give that one an 8, or maybe even a 9. I'll go ahead and give it an 8.5 out of 10. The price per piece ratio on that one is superb. You don't really see something, especially around the 8 cents per piece ratio anymore. And although, in my opinion, both sets have great minifigures, there definitely is a major difference between the two. They all are fairly standard for their time, but however, the 2008 one, which of course is on the left once again, that includes relatively few figures for the amount of money that you pay for it. Again, those are really cool figures again. You get the two Clone Wars era clones, but there's no Jedi, there's not really any droids, anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give that the lowest score that one's going to get, which is 6 out of 10. I really think they could have done more as far as the figures went. Although I think the way the set is designed, you don't really need the figures, you really only need 2 for the vehicle itself. While the one on the right, you get the appropriate amount, I think. I'll go ahead and turn the camera so you can see those a little bit better. You get 2 of these battle droids as well, with the Ayla Secura minifigure. And the clone gunner, and I think that's a really good selection. I think they could have made a better choice, however, using the Commander Bly. But regardless, getting a Jedi and a new clone trooper and 2 battle droids in a $25 set isn't something that you really expect. So that one, I'm going to give it the set's highest score, which will be 9 out of 10. Really surprised that we got such a great selection there, especially for such a cheap set. So I think that's probably the best quality that set has right there. And now with the actual vehicles themselves, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual dimensions and everything of them, beyond just the stats and the figures and everything. And I think that's probably the most important part of the set, is that the set itself is accurate to the film, or the actual in-universe vehicle, excuse me. And especially the features on that and the detail has a lot to say about how quality this set actually is, how good it actually is. And you can notice, or you will notice right away, that the one on the right here, the 2017, I think the first thing that stands out to me is that it is a lot shorter than it should be, and a lot shorter than it needs to be. The one on the left is almost a little bit taller than it should be and needs to be. I think this one gets the width right, though, right on the right here, just looking from the front. This one's a little bit wide. I think that has to do with the height, just because it's so tall it kind of has to be that wide. But it's a little wide, in my opinion. I think it balances, though, between the treads and the front look of the guns, though, the whole block section right there. I think that actually blends pretty nice with the look of the sides. The one on the right, though, of course, I think that's more of the appropriate width. I think that's more in-universe size accurate. You compare the figure, and if you go and look at like video games, like you go look at the Battlefront 2, this is actually about the size of the figure you'll see. But I think it's a little bit short, and that has to do with not including the Top Gun, of course, that is on the 2008 model. But I think that it all around, this one, believe it or not, even though people complain, is a little bit more size accurate, just because it's kind of small, but it's a more happy balance between the super large and what would be an extremely small set. It also does a better job of concealing the parts right here in the bottom that you can clearly see, which are the treads. I can't really focus the camera well enough for you to see. There's a big square section right there where the wheels are attached so that the thing can get the sort of hover feeling right there. From the sides, there really isn't much of a shortage of detail in either of these sets, in my opinion. This one utilizes different parts on the side very well without actually having to use the detachable treads on the side. It does use a couple sticker pieces, however, for that effect, but all around, I think it did really well. Using some unique pieces, especially like the sword, the fencing sword right there, the silver bar, and I think everything blends fairly well in that set, especially with its size and what they were able to do with $25. This one on the side right here, a lot more to it though, and I think that has to do with the fact that these treads are detractable, or detachable should I say. They can detach. These sets right here, this one is built all in one section. You'll build the set all as one. However, this in the side, it's built in 3 major parts. You have the central side right here, and then each one of these treads. That's why you can kind of adjust and everything, is because those are actually built separate. I think that does add a little bit to the detail for that though. Again, it uses some sticker pieces, but there's just more features to this one, including the concussion missile launchers that you can fold up right there. You got the kind of little canister canopy right there to store different items that come within the set. The guns are a little bit more accurate, I think. Again, that just comes down to the size, not a big deal, but I do like just the all-around the look of the treads on this one a little bit more in my opinion. From the front, the 2017 is completely brick built. There are a few different little bits of a looking glass on that to see through. However, this one does actually include a little bit of an engine area, so you can flip that up, and that's something that, again, just for the amount of money for this one, it doesn't have, but there is a little bit of something inside there too. Less stickers on this one all around. You got like actual brick-built Republic symbols versus the stickers on that one, and it uses a similar technique just to kind of display the little bit of window piece that looks dark, but it actually is a very dark translucent window piece right there on the corners. And the backs on each of these have very different contrast to each other. You know, this one actually looks a little bit better with the sloped top edge right there. There's a little bit of a storage place. However, the one on the left looks a little bit flat, a little bit dull. You can see kind of some parts that aren't great for being exposed. But this does have a little bit more usefulness to it in terms of what this actually does. It's not really meant to be the door that you would expect it, however, because this actually has a little bit of a technique, a little bit of a usage to it, should I say. So that's why it maybe doesn't look as well on this one. So let's go ahead and get into like the canopies and everything, or the interior, because that's probably why it looks so awkward on the back. So just looking at this one, of course, once you open this actually will reveal a figure on the top. Like, this is kind of rubber band loaded, and I'll go ahead and show you what I mean. This is actually completely removable, a feature that the newer one does not have. And once you open this door, the seat, I'm sure you've seen this isn't like a full-on review. The door isn't supposed to come off, but once you actually open the door, the seat kind of pops up to expose the gunner through the top hatch, and I think that's a good feature. I wish they would have done something a little bit more with on the new one, but the inside all around just looks better. You got like an actual computer screen, an actual seat and everything. It looks a little bit weird with the rubber bands, but I think the whole thing itself works and just flows way better than the older set. You know, the detachable hatch, the detachable top, everything just all around looks a lot better, functions a lot better, and just really is a lot better on this one. And that is really it for this entire video. So I think each one definitely has its own sort of uniqueness and characteristics that set it apart from each other. The one on the right, of course, has better minifigure selection, I think. I think the price per piece ratio definitely a bit better. The one on the left, all around, I think is the better set, though. Even though it doesn't have the better price per piece ratio, it's still pretty cheap for the time. Doesn't have the better minifigures. I think the build itself more than makes up for that. And the right one, lacking a little bit just on that, but I think they did pretty well with that one. Definitely one I'm glad I bought several of, and I wish I would have been able to do that for this one. But all around, 2 amazing sets. So that's my first comparison. I'm glad I was able to do this. Go ahead and let me know what you think of this video or the comparisons in general. If you want me to do more, especially on like the new sets coming out. So yeah, that's really all I have for you. So thank you for watching. May the force be with you, and as always, have a nice day.